guys, we're going to talk today about area. Okay, we kind of briefly talked about it a little bit, but who can tell me what area means? We've also talked about perimeter, and sometimes we have to know the difference between perimeter and area. But today we're going to focus mostly on area. So based on our anchor chart that you've seen, what is area, Eliana?
The size of a surface, the space inside a boundary.
Okay, so when we talk about area, we're talking about what's on the inside as opposed to perimeter, which is what's on the what?
Outside.
Outside. Okay, so watch me real quickly. So when we talk about area, first off, what kind of shape is this Post-it note in?
Square.
A square. How do I know it's a square?
It has four sides.
It has four sides. So here I go. So if I took a square Post-it note, and it's important that you know that this is a square because area is measured in square units. Okay? So here is my Post-it notes here. And what figure do I have here?
Square.
A square. So if I wanted to find the area of my square or my rectangle, I would say, count with me, 1,
2, 3, 4.
So the area is 4 inches squared. And notice that I put a little square up there because we measure area in square inches because they're in the shape of a square. Now, if I wanted to find the perimeter, if I just wanted to extend it, this is, say, 2 inches because I have 2 here. And if it's a perfect square, we know that what? Yes?
All of the sides are 2 inches.
All the sides are 2 inches. So I could say 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, or I could say what?
2 times 4.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. 2 times 4, which is?
8.
8. So I could say 8 inches. So what did I just do? I found the area by counting my squares. Or, what is 2 times 2?
4.
4. And this is rows and columns. And what does
Like
rows and columns mean?
Array.
Array. Good job. So area is like the area model in multiplication. Remember when we talked about that? Okay, so you guys have 12 Post-it notes. Now what I want you to do is we're talking about area. Area is on the inside. So I want you to make a rectangle any way you can. Okay, and we're going to find the area just like I did on this Post-it note. But you have 12. Okay, go. Give me some space. Okay, go. Just so take your Post-it notes and you're just going to make a rectangle, something with using your 12. You be creative, whatever you want, but it has to be a rectangle. And it doesn't have to all look the same. There's it's actually 3 or 4 different ways we can make this rectangle.
6, right?
You can, that's one way.
There's 12.
Yes, there's 12. See if you can do it as fast as you can. Okay. All right, so out to the side, Diego, tell me what your area is and what your perimeter is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Is that a rectangle?
Yeah.
How can you make that into it? Oh, nice. Ah, nice, Carla. Okay, good job, Carla. Now, with your rectangle, you find your area and you find your perimeter.
B.
Okay, good job. Okay, find your area and perimeter. Like it. You could do that if you'd like.
Yeah.
Quickly. Good. Make sure you're using your inches. What do we talk about when we find our area? What's it measured with? It has a little 2. This just means square.
What does the 2 mean?
Square units.
That
Which,
means 2 squares?
well, it means that it's measured, you're counting squares, and areas always, because you're counting the squares, so it's square units actually. So when you see a little 2, that's how we measure area. And then perimeter. What's perimeter, Carla? Check that one more time. Let's label your outside. See how I labeled mine? How many rows and how many columns? How many columns do you have? Count them. 1.
4. And this would be 4, and that would be 3. So, what is it?
Okay, keep going. You're almost done. So what's my perimeter? Good job, Carla. Yes, good job. All right, so now, Diego, can you explain what you did to find your area? What is area and how did you find it? Explain your rectangle.
The top was 6. I counted how much there was for here, and then I counted this part. Then I got it 2.
You got a 2. Okay. Well,
There were 2 rows.
so you have 2 rows and
6 columns.
okay, so your area is what?
24.
Area. Your area is what?
Oh, 12.
12 inches
2
squared. We say squared.
square.
12 inches squared. Again, area is what's on the inside. Okay, good job. Now the perimeter is on the outside. And how did you find your perimeter?
I multiplied
What did you multiply?
6. I added these 6's together,
Uh-huh.
and I added these 2's together, and I multiplied it.
Okay, and what'd you get?
24.
So which one's larger, the area or the perimeter?
Perimeter.
The perimeter is larger, the area is 12. So Eliana, can you describe so look at his rectangle, guys. Look at his rectangle. It's different from Eliana's. Eliana, can you describe yours?
Well, in the area, I counted the top, and there were 4.
Uh-huh.
On the bottom, there were 3. So I multiplied 4 times 3. It equals 12.
Ah, wait a minute. So you have 12 in area and you have 12 in area. So you have the same number of squares, but look at your rectangles. Different, right? It's okay. Okay, just wanted y'all to notice that. Okay, go ahead.
So for the perimeter, I just did kind of the same thing. I counted the top and the bottom, and there were 12.
You counted them all. So 4 plus 4 is
8.
8 plus 3
7.
and plus 3. Why don't you work it out? Okay, you did the same thing, right? Perimeter, so that your area is 12, I see. Put your inches squared, because it's important to put IN, just like I did up here, IN squared. Put a little 2 right there, because that's what means squared. Okay, so perimeter is when you add the outside. So show me where you added the outside. Ah, nice. So what'd you do?
Well, what I did wrong is that I kind of multiplied, but I was supposed to add.
Ah, right. I'm so glad you said that, because when you find the area, you can multiply your length and your width, and when you find the perimeter, you add the outside. So fix it. All right. So do you see the difference between area and perimeter?
Yep.
So area is the inside, perimeter is the outside, okay? So you can count the squares or you can multiply. Now, quickly, I'd like for you to now trace your rectangle on the grid paper. So take what you did and then just count your squares and label it just like you did with your Post-it notes.
Can we do it in the middle?
Yes, in the middle is fine, but just make sure you're doing it exactly like you did it with your Post-it notes. Uh-huh. Don't color it in, just trace it. We're gonna label it on the inside. No. Just count the squares. You don't have to trace it, just count the squares. Okay, label it. So Carla, just do that here. So how many rows are you gonna go down? Okay, go down. Okay, how many are you gonna go across? And then go up?
I'm so tired.
Ooh, don't press so hard. Okay, now out to the side, put your labeling. Label it. 12 inches squared. Now make sure you put that little 2 inches.
So, so we do that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay, just put inches. We're gonna say that that's an inch. Well, actually centimeters, but
2. And then we put 2.
for area, we always put the little 2. So remember, with area, why, guys? Because it's a square, okay? And so when we measure an area, you should have area is 12 inches. You're always going to see that little square sign. That just means you're counting the inside squares, okay? That's what that means. Different from perimeter, which is the outside. Now you can get it in many different ways. That's 14 and yours is 24. Now notice, guys, that Diego has 24 as a perimeter. You guys have 14. So if we wanted to build, say, a pool in our backyard and see what we can find the most area, if we had to design something like that, we'd have to know area and perimeter. That's why it's really important to see how much space we have for whatever we want to build on the outside of in our backyard. Okay? That's why we have to know the difference between area and perimeter. Okay? Now, what I want you to do is you can keep that right there. So we're going to move now to how we will figure this out and how this will look like on a Starlight question. So you're going to see how we're going to find the area for number 1. Okay. Yeah, you can just do it on the outside there. Okay, who will read number 1? Carla, would you read number 1 for me?
What is the area of the figure below?
Okay, so let's look at this figure.